So I'm going to talk about some of the diplomas offered to guitarists, right? Specifically the ones offered by LCM, or as everybody calls them, RGT. Now, given my experience as an examiner, having assessed some of these diplomas, I thought it'd be good to share a bit of an insight into what these diplomas are and what's involved. So a diploma is essentially the level beyond that of a grade 8 exam, right? So if you got to grade 8 and you wanted to go on further, a diploma would be the next step up. Now, a lot of the big music performance colleges in the UK will offer you the opportunity to work towards a diploma, full-time study. So they're like a year long, and there'll be a variety of different courses and stuff. The ones I'm talking about today, the LCM ones, are you can basically just work towards them at your own pace. You can do it with the book, you can do it with a tutor, and the idea is that you just sort of book the practical exam, whenever you're ready. So the performance diplomas that I'm going to talk about today are offered in acoustic guitar, electric guitar, and jazz guitar. Now, there are some teaching diplomas that are available, but I think I'm going to cover those in a separate video. So there are 4 levels of diploma offered by LCM, right? The first one is a diploma of the London College of Music, which I'll probably refer to as DIP LCM. That's the first one. The second one is an associate of the London College of Music, which is an ALCM. The third one is a licentiate of the London College of Music, which is an LLCM. And then the last one is a fellowship of the London College of Music, which is called an FLCM. So the first one, the DIP LCM, is a level 4 diploma, right? And it's equivalent to a first year undergraduate performance, right? Or as it's referred to in the syllabus. Candidates who enter for this examination will be expected to demonstrate a standard of performance beyond that of grade 8, consistent with a level 1 first year undergraduate recital. So the second one, the ALCM, is a level 5 diploma, and that's equivalent to a second year undergrad recital. The third level of diploma, the LLCM, is a level 6 diploma, and that's equivalent to a final year or third year undergrad recital or performance. The final and highest level of diploma that LCM offer is the FLCM, the fellowship, right, which is a level 7 diploma. It's pretty serious stuff, and as they explain in the syllabus, in order to pass, the candidate must present a recital of a standard which one might expect to hear at a major concert venue, demonstrating a clear maturity of personality and interpretation. The standard expected is equivalent to that of a master's level recital. So now I'm going to take a look at what the diplomas consist of, i.e., what do you need to prepare and what you're going to be expected to do in the exam. Let's take a look at the acoustic guitar diplomas first of all. So there's no book available for the acoustic diplomas, right? Because essentially the diploma is focused almost entirely on the performance of pieces. So they are called acoustic guitar concert diplomas, right? So there's no technical work or chart reading. And the format of every level of diploma is exactly the same. Each level of the acoustic diplomas requires a candidate to perform a varied program of music, right? And for the DIP LCM, so that's the first one, the program of music should last somewhere around 20 to 25 minutes. That's your first level, and then it goes up sort of 5 minutes every time. So by the time you reach the FLCM, which is the fourth, the highest diploma, you should be delivering sort of 35 to 40 minutes worth of music. So for the acoustic guitar diplomas, the second component is to provide some program notes, which is essentially just a written summary of kind of the music you performed. Only takes up 10% of the marks, but it's well worth getting into the detail and understanding exactly what you need to write about. So I've linked to all the relevant documents down below. So the format for the acoustic guitar diplomas is quite straightforward. It's the same at every level. Moving on to the electric guitar ones, it's different at every level. Right now, probably the first thing is to get hold of the book, right, which supports whichever diploma you're going for. They're really quite difficult to come by these days, the physical books, so I've got all mine digitally, but again, I'll link down below where you can kind of purchase and get hold of the diploma handbooks. So for electric guitar, the DIP LCM, the first level of the diploma, requires you to prepare some technical work. That technical work is included in the book, so you can check that out. Then there are 2 prepared performances, the first of which is a performance of one of the following 3 tracks: Gary Moore's Still Got the Blues, Satriani Surfing with the Alien, and Black Magic Woman by Santana. Now the idea with these tracks is that you reproduce and then sort of interpret and develop the main theme, right? So you would take the main theme from Still Got the Blues and then kind of embellish it your own way for some of the future repeats. The second element of the performance is rhythm playing, where you just basically prepare a rhythm part which follows one of the charts, again, that you can find in the handbook. The third element of the DIP LCM is the rhythm playing and lead playing charts, which are unseen, so you're given them on the day, right? So it's very similar to the old grade 8 standard where you're given 2 charts on the day. So obviously you're going to need to make sure you've done your homework for those. The ALCM, so the second level of diploma, follows a format very similar to the DIP LCM, except they add in some chart reading, right? So you'll be given a chart at the end of the exam, and you'll probably be required to follow some rhythmic notation. But again, examples of the sort of charts you can expect will be included in the book. The LLCM, so the third level of diploma, is fairly similar. Again, you've got the technical work. There's actually just one prepared performance that you need. You've got the unseen lead and rhythm playing charts and the chart reading. Then at FLCM level, which is the final diploma or the fourth one, it's a lot more straightforward. You've just got to prepare a program, varied program of music lasting around 45 minutes. There's essentially a free choice section, so it's down to you to choose the tunes, but there is a list of kind of suggested songs at that level. Again, it's in the book. Essentially a 45-minute gig, right, with a varied program of music. It's the highest level of the diploma they award, so it's pretty serious stuff. And finally, at FLCM, you will need to provide some program notes. I think it's between sort of 1,000 and 1,500 words. Kind of in-depth harmonic melodic analysis of what you're playing. Again, do refer to the syllabus for kind of more detailed. So finally, the jazz guitar diplomas, what's involved. Now, hopefully it goes without saying that the stylistic elements of jazz guitar and jazz music are very important here. So first of all, looking at the DIP LCM, the first level of diploma. Technical knowledge, right? So lots of arpeggios, scales, extended chords, altered chords, things like, a D7 flat 9 sharp 5 arpeggio, all those kind of things. Now obviously check out the book for a detailed list of everything that you need to know and prepare for the exam. Performance of 2 pieces, right? One of which needs to be from the list in the book. The other one can be free choice, or it can also be from the list. You'll then need to prepare for the fact that you're going to be given an unseen rhythm playing chart and an unseen lead playing chart. Examples, giving you an idea of the sort of standard required, again, can be found in the book. The ALCM, so the next level, the second level diploma, follows the same format as the DIP LCM, but obviously the standard of playing required for the second level of diploma is higher. The LLCM, so the third level of diploma, requires you to prepare 4 pieces, so you need 4 tunes. Again, there's a list in the handbook, but you're also going to be given the unseen lead and unseen rhythm playing charts. Again, examples in the handbook. So finally, the FLCM requires a candidate to perform a varied program of music lasting 45 minutes, right? 75% of that can be unaccompanied solo guitar, so think jazz guitar, solo jazz guitar type thing. You also need to throw some program notes in there, but essentially the FLCM for all 3 different disciplines of diploma follows pretty much the same format. So how do you determine which level of diploma is right for you? How do you know where to start, right? I mean, you could get a second opinion, you could speak to a tutor and ask them what they think. I'd usually suggest that you kind of go in on the first one, just because I think it's going to give you an idea of the process and kind of get you used to it. But also you can get hold of one of the books, and each book will give you a suggested list of tunes, and that should go some way into kind of helping you decide which level to go for. So starting with the electric diplomas, at DIP LCM, the first one, your 3 tunes as part of your prepared performance are Black Magic Woman by Santana, Gary Moore's Still Got the Blues, and Satriani's Surfing with the Alien. Now, as a guitarist, you'll probably notice that Surfing with the Alien arguably is technically a bit more demanding than perhaps Santana's Black Magic Woman, right? Obviously it's a different style, but So the point is this, it's about developing the theme. The way it works is that when the backing track plays, so if we took Satriani's Surfing with the Alien as an example, you'll get 6 times round the main theme. The first of which you will just listen to the demo track of the theme. The next time you will reproduce it kind of exactly, and then we're just talking about the main theme here, not the solos and all of that. The next 3 times you interpret that theme, you develop it, you embellish it in whichever way you kind of fits with your own style, and then the final time you repeat the theme again to sort of close the performance. When you move to ALCM, so the second level of diploma, you'll need to prepare one of the following 3 tunes, first of which is Peter Green's Need Your Love So Bad, second is Pink Floyd's Shining You Crazy Diamond, and the third is Steve Vai's For the Love of God. And again, we have the same sort of thing, right? Because arguably For the Love of God is probably technically more demanding than Peter Green's Need Your Love So Bad. Obviously, it's a completely different style, it's a different feel altogether, but the same idea, right? You're going to take the theme, you're going to develop it and interpret it. You might borrow some of their musical ideas to embellish along the way. Bear in mind that at ALCM level, when compared to dip LCM, there will be you'd be expected to increase the duration and the development of your melodic and rhythmic ideas when you're embellishing and kind of playing the main theme. Moving to LLCM, you're expected to perform a lead instrumental tune. Could be something you've written yourself, but you'd need to provide the backing for it to give you an idea. A few of the tunes at this level are Room 335 by Larry Carlton, Orion by Metallica, Brad Paisley's Nervous Breakdown, and Stevie Ray's Rude Mood. There's an obvious mix of styles there. It's up for you to decide. You don't necessarily even need to pick one from the list, but it should give you an idea of the kind of thing that you need to expect and prepare for. The tune should be somewhere between 3 and 6 minutes in length. So for FLCM, the final level of diploma, the fourth one, obviously as we discussed, it's just a program of music you need to present. To give you an idea, some of the tunes at this level are Cliffs of Dover by Eric Johnson, Die to Live by Steve Vai, Hot Wired by Brent Mason, and Stevie Ray's Lenny. So as we discussed, the acoustic diplomas are all about performance, right? Now in my view, it's maybe worth just trying to think and distinguish between the level of playing that the piece requires, right, and the level of playing of the performer. So what I mean by that, right, is if you think about someone like Tommy Emmanuel, there's quite a few of his tunes suggested in the syllabus. You're not necessarily expected to play the piece like as well as he does in order to pass, but instead think of the arrangement, the notes as your basis, and use his performance as the kind of incredibly high standard to aim for, regardless of what level you're at. So first of all, at Dip LCM for acoustic, this piece is an arrangement of Don't Get Round Much Anymore, played by Ali on YouTube. Thank you for letting me share this. Let's have a listen. So wonderful playing from Ali there, thank you very much. We've got kind of two to three parts moving sort of simultaneously. Some nice kind of jazz harmony. It's not a crazy tempo, melody's sort of nice and clear. And I think that's a fairly good indication of the sort of level required at Dip LCM. Secondly, we have a version of Clap by Steve Howe, played here by Oliver Day. This again is a piece taken from the suggested pieces list. Let's have a listen. So it's in a country Chet Atkins style, lots of alternate bass movement, kind of fair amount of technique in there, strumming, single note playing, lots of left hand movement. I think it's a good indication of the kind of level required at ALCM. Thanks again to Oliver for letting me share that. Lovely job. So from the list for LLCM, I've got Strutting by Jerry Reed, played here by Tim Van Roy. Let's have a listen. piece almost doesn't sound too difficult. It is, and I think it's just because Tim plays it so well. I mean, there's so much going on. Alternate bass movement, open string runs. There's a few points where the little finger, the left hand, is barring. So there's loads going on there. But for me, it's the groove and the feel of it is central to it. And obviously by LLCM level, you know, the technical elements of it are kind of expected to have together. It's how you communicate the groove and the feel and all that sort of stuff. But again, a great indication of the sort of level we're after. So thanks again, Tim, for letting me use it. So taken from the FLCM suggested list, it's Tommy Emmanuel's arrangement of Day Tripper / Lady Madonna, played amazingly by Alexa, all the way from Serbia. As you may have noticed, I've just taken snippets from all of these videos just because the video will go on forever if I included the whole performance. But please do listen to the full versions of all of these videos. I'll link to everything down below. Let's have a listen. Yeah, pretty decent playing there. I mean, there's a lot going on, right? You've got essentially a bass line and a melody played simultaneously throughout the whole thing, all on a song which wasn't written on guitar. The arrangement by Tommy Emmanuel obviously is ludicrous, but you know, Alexa's playing is absolutely outstanding. And I think that the broader point here is that we're at a point at FLCM where you're talking about guitar playing with such facility, not to mention time, feel, dynamics, anything like that. It's so musical. It's really, really awesome. Thanks so much, Alexa, again. So finally, jazz guitar. Let's have a look at what's involved at a Dip LCM. This tune, Tenor Madness, is taken from the suggested pieces list. Tenor Madness is essentially, in my mind, a jazz blues. So it's kind of blues with some jazz changes thrown in. This is played by Gordon Stewart on YouTube. Thank you, Gordon. Lovely feel and phrasing from Gordon there. You've got some pentatonic stuff in there, but very much the jazz language, if you want to call it that. So yeah, a good indication of level for a Dip LCM, I think. So from the suggested pieces list from the ALCM level, this is a tune called Blue Set. This is something I actually played a little while ago, so this is me playing. The tune is a little bit harder because you're dealing with a 3/4 time signature. There's some more detailed changes, and I think arguably you could say the changes are a little bit more difficult to negotiate as a player. So by this stage, the player will be starting to add in some altered phrases. The harmony has evolved a little bit more on from what you'd expect at the dip LCM level. For LLCM level, I've chosen a tune called Yardbird Suite. It's a Charlie Parker tune. It's not actually on the suggested pieces list, but I felt that it was probably appropriate given that it's sort of from the bebop era. Doesn't necessarily mean that you need to play, bebop tunes at LLCM level. For example, a couple of the tunes on the suggested list at LLCM are Fat Lip by John Schofield and Ain't Got Nothing But the Blues by Robin Ford. Anyway, to give you an idea, this is fantastically played by Dane Nichols. It's just the audio, not the video. So given that the tune was written by Charlie Parker, we're dealing with fast-moving changes, from the bebop era. Dane's playing certainly uses influence from the bebop era. The phrasing is very sympathetic to the genre, the tone, the feel, everything for me is sort of dead on at that level. I believe that Dane got a very high mark for his exam, so it should give you an idea of the sort of level to aim for. Finally, at FLCM level, Dane has again kindly offered to provide a little video of his playing of one of the pieces. This is nice because this is a solo jazz guitar. Please remember that for FLCM jazz guitar, up to 75% of the exam can be solo jazz guitar. This one is called T for Two, arranged by Pasquale Grasso. So there's a great deal going on there. It covers a whole spectrum of jazz harmony. Very high level of technique throughout, speed, clarity, the way he seamlessly moves between lead and rhythm playing. It swings like crazy as well. It engages the listener in a solo jazz guitar context, and in my view represents the level of playing required for someone at FLCM level. Thank you again, Dane. So can you enter directly for any level of these diplomas without having done the previous one? Now, for all three disciplines that I've talked about today, so that's the electric, acoustic and jazz guitars, yes, you can for the first two. So that's the dip LCM and the ALCM. You can just enter direct for those. You don't need to have done any previous exams. However, for the final two, so it's the LLCM and the FLCM, you do need to have completed the previous level. So if you wanted to enter direct for LLCM, which is the third level, you'd need to have done the ALCM. If you want to direct for the FLCM, which is the fourth and final one, you need to have done the previous LLCM, right? However, in exceptional circumstances, the syllabus does suggest that you can apply for one of the higher levels of diploma if you felt that your playing was up to the level. Again, that's something you need to discuss with LCM directly and sort of put forward your case as to why you should be able to enter directly for the higher level. So how do you enter for these diploma exams? You can just enter online in the same way that you would for any other graded music exam that you might be doing. They aren't available as online exams in the sense that you can't book an online session where you sit there and you're assessed online. Personally, I just think that if you are serious about doing these exams and you want to go for it, I do think it is better to do it in person, just personally speaking. So where are the exams held? Where do they take place? From experience, I think the ALCM, the LLCM and the FLCM, so that's the top 3 levels of diploma, are usually held at the UWL campus in Ealing in London, right? So if you want to do one of those, you're going to have to be prepared to travel to London. I think that's because those exams usually require 2 examiners for all the disciplines, so there's nowhere to hide, but that would mean you'd have to get to London. For the DIP LCM, I think they can just be held in a normal exams session because I think that just requires 1 examiner. You can certainly bring your own gear to the exams if you want to bring around maybe a pedal board or something like that. As long as you can set it up reasonably quickly and you're not going to show up with like a rack mount like reverb unit, I think that's fine. So I think these diplomas are well thought out and structured. I think as a player, if you're looking for a target and something to work towards, these could certainly be something worth looking at. If you've got any questions on the diplomas or anything I didn't cover, just let me know in the comments and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one.